everyone, welcome to Show Me How It's Done. I am your host, Lauren Urbonus, and I am so excited to craft with you guys today. This is Valentine's month, so I thought we would do something along the themes of love and caring. So this was a card that I designed this month for my club members, but I wanted to share it with you guys because I thought it was perfect not only for Valentine's as I presented it to them but if you're going to a wedding, if you've got an anniversary coming up, or even just for a thinking of you card. The sentiment that I chose really could be a friendship sentiment or just something for a special somebody in your life. But of course, you can always swap that sentiment out and really tailor it to the person or the occasion that you want this card for. So what I want to do today is show you how to make a quick set of cards. We're actually going to make 2 cards at the same time because we're using pieces from the opposite set. So your work is going to be done for you very quickly, and you're going to be really excited at how fast you can actually make these cards and how easy they are to do. So here's the set of cards. I've chosen to use a color scheme of Blackberry Bliss and Vanilla. And then I've also brought in my pearlized paper on the front of the card, but you of course can use anything you want. I really do suggest trying that pearlized paper because it's so fun. Look at the difference between the pearl and even the vanilla tag. You can just see it's got that kind of shine and shimmer to it. So I'm going to give you all the measurements for the card and you can follow along if you would like to. The bundle that I've chosen to use today is from our January to June mini catalog, and it can be found on page 11. So I am in Canada, just so you guys know. So the prices that I'm giving you are according to the Canadian catalog. So this whole bundle is $62. Of course, you can always buy just the stamp set, and then the embossing folder and the dies are sold as a bundle. So you can buy those 2 things separately. However, you do save 10% on the whole entire bundle. And I really like all the sentiments in here. They kind of cover a wide range of occasions. And of course, if you did order this bundle before the end of February, then you'd still qualify for one of our celebration rewards, which you get something free from this mini catalog with every $60 that you purchase. So if you have any questions about this and you haven't heard about this promotion, message me because we'll get you the details. You still have a couple weeks left to shop, but this is where I got the set from, and this is what it looks like. So there is a Bouquet of Love embossing folder. This is one of our 3D embossing folders, so it's rather thick if you're looking at it. The Love and Happiness stamp set. And then there is a set of dies as well that you can purchase actually with the embossing folder. So they're a tiny little set of dies and the embossing folder instead of one large set of dies is kind of how it works. So this is the set I'm using today. Let me get you the measurements and we will get going. I'm going to put this here. You can see one of them for now. There we go. Okay, so to make 2 cards, we're making exactly the same cards. They're just, as you can see, mirrored in color. Okay, so we will need 2 card bases. Blackberry Bliss and Very Vanilla are my choices. They each measure 4 1/4 by 8 1/2, and you're putting a score mark in the middle here at 4 1/4. So that makes you a perfect square, and you've done that twice. Okay, 1 in each color. Now for the front of our cards, we're going to want opposite colors. Okay, so I have cut a Blackberry Bliss square 4 by 4. That one will be going on my vanilla cover. And then my pearl paper that I mentioned before is also 4 by 4, and that one will be going on top of Blackberry Bliss. Now, because it's not so easy to write inside the Blackberry Bliss, I cut myself 1 extra square just of plain vanilla. This is also 4 by 4. See, super easy measurements today. And that's going to go on the inside of the Blackberry. However, you can quite easily write on the inside of the vanilla, so I didn't cut you another square. Otherwise, you're ending up with lots more layers inside that one. Okay, so here's how our layers would look but we need to do some embossing first. So I'm going to take my 2 front cover pieces. We're going to do a little bit of work on them, okay? So take your bases and put them aside. We'll use them at the end. So what I need to do is I need to first grab my Bouquet of Love embossing folder, because that's how we're going to get this beautiful texture onto our card. And from my die set here, I'm going to take the largest heart. We're using that heart. Okay, so the heart is actually going to go, you can kind of see these little grooves in the embossing folder. So it doesn't matter which way you start, but once you pick a direction, maybe stick with it. So on the side that has the Stampin' Up logo, I'm going to put this inside. I want to be able to see the stitching facing up, because that's going to cut my paper out. And you will notice it does cut into your embossing folder a teeny tiny bit on the opposite side, but it doesn't matter. There's nothing that's going to affect this. If, you know, one day I decide I just want to do embossing, this isn't going to show up or affect that look. So don't worry about it, okay? So here is my heart. Now you're going to take one of your squares, it doesn't matter which one you're starting with, and try and get it as centered over that heart as possible. The easiest way to check is to close this up and to see how happy you are with where that heart sits. For me, I think I'm going to move this over just a teeny tiny bit. Other than that, it's looking pretty good. If you're going to do these for like a wedding invitation or something like that, once you figure out where you want this, take a Sharpie and actually draw yourself a perimeter. But you probably don't want to do that every time because your card stock may be a different size. So just move it gently with your fingers, close this up again, and decide, am I happy with that? And I am. So I'm going to hold on to this while I get my cut and emboss machine ready. So I'm using the larger one. These plates won't fit through the mini machine, unfortunately, but that's okay. This guy comes in handy. So what you need is plate number 1. That's that big fat base plate. That's going to go on first. Then we're going to take our whole sandwich of embossing and put it onto that plate. We're not using any clear plates right now, okay? Because this embossing folder is so thick, you don't need clear plates. What you do need is our 3D base plate. So I have the old one, it's blue. I think our new one is gray, but they're the same thickness, and you can order them separately from our catalog, okay? So I'm putting that over top. So my sandwich was large base plate, embossing folder, blue or gray 3D plate, okay? And then we're just going to gently, sorry, my left wrist still isn't that happy with me. Roll this through, and what you get once you take your heart off is a really nice frame and a single heart. So, like I mentioned, we're going to do this twice because if I was only to use this part of the card, my heart is going to waste, right? So that's why we're doing opposites. You're going to find that pearl paper and do the same thing. Put your heart inside the groove like this. Put this over top and see if you're happy, which I'm not. So I'm going to move that up. Now I'm happy. And the nice thing about your embossing machine is it can go both ways. So I'm just setting it up the opposite way this time and rolling it through like so. Okay, I'm going to put this down for a second so that we can have some table space. I'll actually need that again in a minute. So once again, take this off and you can now put the large heart away. Don't need it. And just so that we keep our pieces straight, let's do a little bit of assembly right now to get these pieces together. Okay, so let's start with our Blackberry card. I'm going to put my 4x4 insert on the inside here. And that's just using some sort of flat adhesive. I love my double-sided tape. You can also use seal, you can use glue, whatever sort of flat adhesive you have is great. That goes on the inside. Of course, you can always come back and stamp something like a heart or a rose on the inside here. And now for the front, you guessed it, we're going to use our pearl frame, this guy here. I am going to do the whole perimeter because I want this nice and flat for whoever gets it. Sometimes when you emboss things, they like to kind of come off the page. So I find if you do that little bit extra tape or adhesive, it will stick down and kind of just look nicer. Okay, so I've done my whole perimeter. You should be able to put this on and it will have a nice little frame for you to work with, okay? So the easy idea would be, of course, not to do anything on the inside of this heart and simply, like I did, cut a tiny heart, add it on, and then you don't need anything more. But because we've already cut this beautiful blackberry one out, we're going to pop this up on dimensionals and put that in the middle of our empty space. Okay, so popped up, and it will fit perfectly inside this groove. You don't need to do anything fancy to fit it, and it's beautiful. So let's switch, and we're going to do the same thing to our blackberry frame, which is add adhesive all the way around the edge. There we go. Like so. There's my blackberry, and the vanilla is showing through, but we're going to use our pearl heart because it's beautiful and we want to for the centerpiece. So I did think that these cards were really pretty as they were. I thought about just adding a sentiment to this, but I really wanted to use the tiny heart that came with the set. So this is where you will need some scrap papers. I guess I forgot to mention that for you. You'll just need some scraps of vanilla so that we can make our tags. And then you're also going to need some scraps of pearl and blackberry that you'll run through the embossing folder one more time, just so that you get pattern on your paper, okay? And we can cut these out all in one shot. So let me just move this. From our set, we're going to grab our little label and the tiny heart. And then for this one, you do need your regular plates. So you'll need, the large base plate, number 1. You'll need that little shim, number 2. And then number 3 is going to be 2 of these clear plates. However, I like to show you with a non-stamping up purple one, just so that you can see the difference, because I used this as my base and I want you to be able to see that there's 2 different plates. Stamping Up sells 2 clear plates together, okay? So we've built our sandwich: plate, shim, 1 clear plate. You can put your little papers on. You can actually do the hearts all at once, so just pile those 2 papers together, put your heart in place, and then your scrap. I have 2 pieces of vanilla because I'm going to need 2 tags. Of course, you can do this separately, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to do this once, and I'm just going to run it through on the floor here. So that when you take this off, there should be 2 tags. and 1 and 2 hearts. Okay, so that is what we needed to cut. Let's do a little bit of stamping before we add these two to the card. Okay, so of course you can use any sentiment you want. To the one I love is what I chose for my 2 samples, but maybe I will turn a couple of these into something else. So I'm gonna do a, what do I want? I'll just do a congratulations. I think that would be quite nice as well. If I can read that. There we go. Congratulations. And I am using Blackberry Bliss Ink. Okay, so tap, tap, tap when you are using this ink because it's very juicy. You don't need it all over your stamp. And there's 1. Tap, tap, tap. I also like to hold this just for 5 seconds so that the color really seeps in. There we go. So there are my 2 sentiments, which means we're on the home stretch to add these last pieces in. Okay, so the first one I suggest adding is the second heart. So you're going to go with the opposite color of your large one. So I've got my pearl for this and my blackberry for that guy. So on the little hearts, we only want the bottom part of it to have dimensionals. So what I did is kind of on the bottom right of the large heart, I put 2 dimensionals and I stuck this right on top. I'm going to do the exact same thing to this little one. 2 dimensionals to the right of the large heart, and that can stick on. Now for your sentiments, you can go ahead and put dimensionals all the way across. We are putting those in the bottom corner. And of course, if you are doing this for a wedding card, you might want to add some basic pearls or rhinestones even, but because I chose to use the pearlescent paper, I really thought I wanted that to be the highlight of the card, so I didn't bother adding any other embellishments. Okay, so this is your choice. You can either put this kind of in the middle of the large heart, you could put it up at the top. I just kind of subtly put it down at the bottom here, and it might cover part of your heart, and that's okay, depending on where it ended up sitting. Okay, so there we go. 2 easy peasy cards, all finished rather quickly. You can probably get them done faster because you're not going to be talking the whole time. But there you go. There's my 2 from today and my 2 from the other day. You can see all the different sentiment options, and if you moved your heart up a little bit, think like I did on these, you would have more space in the bottom here. So it's totally up to you. I don't mind the overlap on the heart. I think it looks kind of cute too. So there you guys go. I hope you enjoyed those cards, and I hope that you'll give this a try if you've already ordered the bundle. And if you haven't, maybe you need to do some wedding invites, or you need to make an anniversary card or a friendship card. It's perfect for any of those things too. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will talk to you guys next week for another episode of Show Me How It's Done. Bye!